Hello, I'm Tanya Nugent. Today on Pacific Pulse, we look back at an event that put a tiny island in the Pacific on the map. October the 26th, 2012 marks the 70th anniversary of the sinking of the World War II troop carrier, the SS President Coolidge, off the coast of Espiritu Santo in Vanuatu. There's a big commemoration being planned in the town of Luganville, with people from all over the world coming to remember this misfortune, but also to celebrate the many thousands of lives that were spared, and an event that continues to put Santo on the map. On a sleepy Saturday afternoon in Luganville, it's hard to imagine that the population here in 1942 was 40,000. That was just the US military personnel who were stationed here during the Second World War. 500,000 more soldiers passed through. It's a little town with quite a history, including the time 5,500 unexpected guests beached on these shores.
On October the 26th, 1942, Henry Nelson, who was the captain of the Coolidge, through an error in communications, it was a classic case of friendly fire, came through the passage you can see behind me, instead of coming through a passage that's on our right-hand side. Hit 2 mines, realised his ship was critically wounded, ran it up on shore, and they got 5,500 people off the ship. Two people died. They didn't think the ship was going to sink, so they just said, leave everything and get off. So they did. Then the ship sunk, turned over its side and slid back.
The Coolidge remained virtually untouched for more than 25 years until it was rediscovered through the eyes of a diver from Australia.
Well, it was November 1969, and I didn't have a job at anywhere. They said, well, they were coming up here on a vessel and they were coming to get the propellers off the Coolidge, and they said, would I like to come? And so I said, okay, I'll come have a look.
And so what was the purpose for removing the propellers?
For scrap.
Right. Alan Power's first encounter with the Coolidge was for a very different purpose to the one he ended up pursuing.
I didn't come up here to start a dive operation, but the dive operation that I came up with, well, they got the propellers off the Coolidge, they got some scrap, and then they moved up to the Solomons. Well, after that I stayed.
He immediately recognised the unique qualities the wreck offered as a dive experience and became passionate about making it a protected site, something that was achieved in 1983.
But people started wandering and said, gee, we thought you'd have a compressor, gee, we thought you'd have tanks. And I said, okay, well, so I got 12 tanks and a compressor. Now I've got 4 compressors and about 150 tanks. So it just progresses on.
And there's a lot more dive operators here now as well.
Oh yeah, there's 1, 2, there are 4 dive operators.
And bring us to our deck.
tourism on this island is directly related to that ship going aground in 1942. If it hadn't have been that ship, we wouldn't be sitting here talking now.
The Coolidge happens to be the world's most accessible wreck dive, in tropical waters just a walk off the beach. And she's no ordinary troop carrier. The wreck of the SS Coolidge is just out there, and this is where the soldiers scrambled to shore when it sank. And if you walk along the beach here, you'll find remnants of the beer bottles, eroded bits of glass from beer and Coke bottles, and if you look carefully enough, you'll even find some blue bits of glass. The stained glass windows are a hint at the ship's glorious past. This troop carrier was originally a luxury liner.
She was built in 31 during the height of the Depression, and she's a very solid ship. She now lies 50-60 metres from shore. The bow is in 20 metres of water, so any diver of any experience can do it. The stern is in 70 metres, so if you're a technical diver and want some deeper diving, that's there as well. It's an amazing experience to dive, and because of its size, you could spend a week to 2 weeks diving on it every day. One of my favourite dives is the galley. When you go into the galley, there is hundreds and hundreds of plates and cups and saucers and glass bowl, wine glasses. Amazing stuff, still there. And that is a credit to Alan Power and Kevin Green, the two guys who have been the mainstays of the diving here, that we have stopped people from taking souvenirs. Off of Sydney, the ship would have been stripped in 6 months. But it'll blow you away.
We often have a, we'll say, right, we have a package, 10 dives, 6 dives on the Coolidge, 4 out, go out and see reefs. But half the time the people say, no, forget the reefs, we'll stay on the Coolidge.
Really good. You cannot believe how close it is to the surface. It's just amazing. Highly recommended. Too easy. Well, that's got to be on the top 10 list for any diver. And you can find out how to make it happen at espiritusantotourism.com. And we'll leave you now with some string band music, a unique form of contemporary music popular throughout Melanesia.
Jipajiroa String Band, so fortunate to be here in Stradbroke Island, just like in Vanuatu, group of islands. We come from Port Vila, Mela village, the biggest village in Vanuatu. And we are island people, just the same as you are island people here in Stradbroke Island. Can you give a big hand of applause to this lady, Eileen? She's the only female member in the band with a nice island music voice.